G'day and welcome. We are fresh back from our round 12 bye and we're here for the round 13 episode of the SuperCoach Paige show. I'm Paige.
I'm Matt.
I'm Damon.
And what a week it's been.
It's been a big week. It was very close with the scores between us this
It was
week.
very well. We had a bit of a Twitter war for those of you on Twitter who would have seen the carrying on. I'm just going to put it out there and say that I got the highest score this week.
Barely.
That's the only way she can win.
Doesn't
it's just
matter.
barely. Not
You two,
comprehensively.
but you two have. You lost. Did you lose week?
I lost the first week.
Yeah,
Yes.
you were week 1 and you were week 2, so naturally that means that I will lose this week.
Yeah. There was a
things
difference
being
between your top score and my worst score this round of 24 points, which is nothing.
Which is pretty good.
And I think it's pretty much locked in that you're going to lose this week. Because tell us what your mids did. Because this is...
Yeah, talk about being bare this week. Look, I've won the first 2, which is fine. I preempted to win the first 2 and to throw round 13. Just to give a couple of scores from my midfield. Ablett, 147. Swan, 149. Danger, 150. Pendlebury, 145. Watson, 130. COTCHIN, 103. JAEGER, O'Meara, 111, with JPK on the bench.
So is that 7? 7 people having a bye? That is amazing.
No bye for Cotchin, but pretty close to all of your midfield out.
Pretty close would be about spot on, actually.
Yeah.
But how did you guys go?
Yeah, it was a pretty even contribution all throughout the field. Sammy Mitchell did well. So your Geelong jumper. Barlow did well. Fife didn't do too well. I brought in Fife this week, and he was my bottom scorer after those bottom 4 scores were taken out.
Having a look at the stats, he had 6 or 7 clangers, and I thought, well,
that's par for the course. With
that's
Fife.
what you're going to get with Fife. But that certainly didn't help his scoring last week.
And I had a similar thing with you bringing Fife, and I brought in Big Minnow, Big Will Minson, and he stuffed me up.
Yep.
It was like the one week, I think his lowest score was like in the 80s, and of course he got another score in the 80s at 82. Disappointing.
And you've been hanging off this guy for the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to get him in up.
Yeah.
I'm going to get him in. I'm going to get him in. And look what he did for you.
I got faith though. I got faith. Him and Coxie.
He'll turn it around.
And what about Stanton, your extra unique?
Stanton
Yes.
and Deliver.
Oh, yes. Stanton and Deliver.
Stanton
Lord.
and Deliver.
I think he got
You can have
102,
that Essendon cheer squad.
103 on the weekend. But I had a few good ones. Swan, 149. Watson, 130. Goddard, Martin, and Buddy.
Gibbs as well. You're like 132.
Yeah, so not too bad. Yep.
Good scores all around.
Well, it's good to know that we all did pretty well this weekend. So that's fantastic. But we're just going to jump straight into arguably the biggest talking point of the week, which is JAEGER O'Meara. Now, he's now priced at 424,000 odd. Had 116 or 100, something like that, against, who did they play? Essendon, it was Essendon. Average of 90 now with a break even of 56, and it's expected to go up another 15k. So low break even, price rise pending, so it'll be 15 grand at the very least. What are we thinking? Because there's been a bit of debate all over social media as to what to do with him and whether it's best to hold on to him for another couple of weeks, let him go up and milk out the money, or trade him in.
I actually got rid of him last week for big Kmart. Good old Kmart. Got him
My
in.
mate.
Yes, your mate, your old mate.
My mate came
Yeah, got him in, and because I was fearful that JAEGER wasn't going to make his break even, so I pulled the trigger a little bit early. But as it looks, you could probably hold out.
I'm getting rid of him, definitely. Only because I don't have Tom Mitchell already, and you definitely need him in your team. He's on the bubble, so...
Well, we had a few reasons that'd be good reason to trade him in as much as it would be to go out. Now, I had a bit of a theory that keeping JAEGER O'Meara this week meant that you can probably afford to make a few upgrades elsewhere. Given that if you've still got Blitzarves in your ruck, well then there was that opportunity to move Blitzarves from the ruck to the midfield, and then via O'Meara, you can upgrade to a out-and-out premium ruckman. Yeah. So I thought of that thinking maybe I'll give Nick Nat a couple of weeks to come down in price, and then I'll switch them around, and it'll only be maybe 150k difference to get Nick Nat.
The advantages of a mid-run.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. But I mean, there's so many options that you can do with JAEGER, and especially people that were looking to move him to backline to upgrade to another premium defender. But we'll touch on those guys later. But I've gone back on what I initially thought. I'm going to trade him in this week, and Brett Deledio is looking pretty good for me. So
There's
having a look at
upgrades.
lids.
I think Sam Mitchell, what's his break even? I think he's...
Well, let's have a... Sam, hang on, we've
low-ish, I
got...
think.
I can't remember his...
Yeah, but I think we were talking about him the other week as a potential upgrade, and he scored, I think it was at 114 odd or something, I think it
Well,
was.
basically at the moment, you can spend an extra $90,000 and upgrade him to... I think he's 515k. So the difference between getting JAEGER and Mitchell, it's about $90,000.
Yeah, it's negligible. So.
Yeah, it's easy, yeah.
And he's definitely a lock that you can keep, until the end of the year. Hawthorn played all of their hard games already, basically at the start of the year. They do have a reasonably tough draw as they were, grand finalists, but they have the really tough games out the way. So
well, they're sitting mid-year on top of the ladder, so they can't be doing too badly. But final word on JAEGER: do we keep him or trade him?
Out for Tom Mitchell for me.
Out for Tom Mitchell. I'm going out for Brett DeLedio.
I'm going to say out for Tom Mitchell as well. I think a lot of people are going to be doing that, especially considering that JAEGER's got the bye this week and Mitchell, of course, doesn't. So that's a good swap.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing it purely because I want to finish off my midfield. So.
Yeah. So you just don't want to lose for the week, do you?
Yes, that's it. I am trading out of this not to lose. Thank you. Thanks, Joyce.
No worries.
Now we're moving into our next segment, which we have named Play Your Cards Right. Now, a lot again, with reverting back to social media, everyone is talking about their attack for the run home, what they should be doing, looking for a bit more of tactful advice. Now, we've decided now everyone's team should be about verging on completion. So at the moment, people have got maybe anywhere between 2 to 5 trades left for, 2 to 5 positions left on the field to upgrade, anywhere between there. We're going to reel off a couple of names that have got big break-evens that are going to be very cheap in the next few weeks. So we'll go through those. We've got Pierce Hanley from the Lions, $483,000 at the moment, which is still pretty cheap. He's got a massive break-even of 158, but in the next 3 games, he's got Geelong, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, and he's going to be around 430k.
With Hanley, is it more a case of the opposition teams finding him out and playing close to him and making sure, like restricting his
making him very accountable.
Ability?
Yep. Well, he hasn't been able to play that free-flowing game off halfback that he's been used to most of the year.
It's kind of like Birchall, I guess.
Yep.
I don't think Hanley's playing poorly particularly. It's just, it's the opposition doing a really good job on him. He knows exactly where to run to get the ball and rack up those marks. But it's with good teams like Geelong and Hawthorn coming up.
Exactly. You expect him now to drop in price, and he'll be one that I'm really looking to upgrade to in the next couple of weeks to finish off my defence. But NAITANUI, now it's hard to go past this because he's at 605,000, so he's pretty pricey for a ruckman. Break even of 161. Do you guys have him?
No, I don't have him.
Well, if you're looking like myself, I'm in the market for a second premium ruck. So NAITANUI's banging on the door for me in a couple of weeks. Hawthorn, Essendon, and Adelaide, the Eagles have got coming up.
Just one thing quickly. If Sam Jacobs performs poorly, he could get dropped. And Adelaide's second string ruckman is Angus Graham. Now, I'm a Richmond supporter. So
does that mean he'll score in the negative though? Angus Graham.
NAITANUI, if he plays against Angus Graham, Nick Nut will score 200. I swear.
Angus Graham will go
demolish him. So if that happens, if for the West Coast Adelaide game, it's Graham against Nick Nut, I am trading.
And Jacobs has been beyond bad. Really,
he could get
Sean
dropped this
Hampson
week.
At the moment.
He could get dropped this week.
You're not wrong.
So
that is a very good point you make, Joyce. Very good point. But last one for me, Stevie J. If you're looking to fill that last position in your forward line, at 590,000. He's got a break even of 170 as well. Massive price drop he's up for. He'll be less than 100,000 in a few weeks unless he pulls out a few of those 150 odd games that he usually does.
Yeah, a lot of people were burning because they traded him in when he played those weak teams that he normally thrashes.
Yeah, that was me. Hand up. Yeah. Cue that noise. Geelong have got Brisbane this week, and they've also got Fremantle and Hawthorn to follow. So a couple of tough games. So if you're looking to fill that last position in your forward line, I think Stevie J would be man.
I'm loving the look at that as well because he's going to be my last upgrade.
Is he?
Overall, he is.
Good one.
So I need him to drop quite a bit. So hopefully,
well, I've got him. So
he spuds it up.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Only when I don't have him.
Thank you.
Worries.
I hope he scores 150 this week.
Paul Duffield's another one. I had him at the start of the year. I traded him out because he was a dud at the start of the year, let's be honest. I thought he would get more freedom because of no Greg Broughton, And at the start of the year, he wasn't, but now he is. So he's priced at 490, break even of 149. Next 3 are against North, Geelong, and St Kilda. So not a bad run. I mean,
I think he'll get a break even there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
He's not gonna score that well against Geelong, but the other teams don't tend to really forward tag like Geelong tend to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Duffield could be a good option. Nat 5 as well, who burned me this week. But
burnt a lot of people this week.
537 600, break even of 147, and up against as well North, Geelong, and St Kilda. So it's really his disposal efficiency that ruined him. He had what was it, 6 clangers?
Yeah, 6 or 7 clangers. I read in the stats. So, and also just touching on that. So is it last year Nat 5 was ranked number 1 in the competition for the most turnovers clangers. So
but he knows how to get the ball, so you've got to take the good with the bad.
You do, but if you could just imagine that even if he lessened that by even half of the clangers that he has per game, he would be spitting out Gary Ablett-like numbers.
I had him actually at the start of the year and had to trade him out when he got suspended, and I was spewing. So I opted to keep COTCHIN ahead of FYFE, and I think Fife's a good player. He's more suited to Dream Team, not so much SuperCoach because of the clangers, but he's still a good player.
And finally, as you're speaking about, Trent COTCHIN, my boy. 526 900, break even of 144, up against the Dogs, the Saints, and North. So
I'm just going to jump in here. He almost won a Brownlow last year off the back of his second half of the season alone, and we're going to go through what Richmond's run is coming up, but
it's relatively easier than what we've had so far.
He is such good value at the moment, Trent COTCHIN. I really couldn't, if I didn't already have him, I'd be trading to him this week, without a doubt.
He's got a little bit of a niggle ever since the Freo game, I think. He's had a little bit of a knee complaint. He's played basically every week, he missed 1 week, I think.
There's too much upside with him though.
Yeah,
I believe
if any team he's going to score really well against, it's going to be the Dogs, and that's who Richmond play this week.
Well, I think they're going to get a bit of form back this week, a few of those players. So.
Yeah. Definitely.
And one guy you should be looking to potentially get in if you haven't got him already, which I think most people do, is Tom ROCKLIFF from Brisbane. He's priced at 490 even, with a break even of 143, and his next 3, a bit hard, against Geelong, Hawthorn, but then a bit of an easy one against Gold Coast. And I think the problem is with ROCKLIFF, Vossi, he tends to play him up forward in patches as well, which is a bit weird.
He's given him the Zorko treatment, which I don't like.
Yeah.
But that's one to think of anyway if you haven't got him. Another one is Jimmy Bartel. He's one of my favourites.
Love him. He's a SuperCoach Paige community favourite.
Yes, but this week.
This week, jet lag.
Jet lag.
What was he thinking?
Going to watch the NBA Finals and then having jet lag.
Well, when you've won 3 flags, a Brownlow and a Norm Smith medal, I guess you have a licence to do whatever the hell you like.
So Chris Scott has come out and said he's 50-50 to play. But it's against Brisbane.
I just want to know how Chris Scott let him go to the NBA Finals in the middle of the football season. But whatever. Do what you like.
I mean, if he was always going to be 50-50, he came back Wednesday, I think. So he's had plenty of time to readjust. But if he was always going to be 50-50 for this game, then why not just let him stay and watch the end of the finals? It's gone down to Game 7, by the way.
I know, Game 7. Go to Spurs.
Was it a case, did he have a niggle or anything, like, to prompt him to go up?
No, just wanted to watch basketball.
Strange, he's going to kill me.
Just for a week.
He
Wish
better
I had just the money to fork out to go to the finals.
But he's been very good this year.
Yes,
he has. He's been fantastic. I just really hope that next year he still maintains his DPP eligibility.
Yeah.
He's playing more in the back line than the forwards, I think.
I was actually going to say that. You stole my thunder. Thank you, Joyce.
No worries.
That's why you're on this show.
Yes, but Jimmy, he's priced at 565 even, with a break even of 139, which if he plays, you think he could potentially reach against Brisbane. Then Geelong face Freo and Hawthorn. A couple of tough matches there. So if he doesn't reach his break even against Brisbane, then he could be on the slide for those 2 matches there. Jared Ruffhead, he's another one from Hawthorn. He's priced at 523 100 with a break even of 130. His next 3, he's got West Coast, Brisbane and Geelong, so a bit of a mixed draw there. But
you got rid of him, didn't you?
That was an accidental mistake. That's one of the bloopers reel at the end of the year. So yeah, I did him. I did the accidental trade him. Was it
ROCKLIFF.
second week?
Yeah.
ROCKLIFF by accident. And look, it paid off because Rocky scored like 120 plus. But Ruffy, ouch.
Yeah, but he is underpriced, so he was one that I was looking at.
Might buy him back now, actually.
He was one that I was looking at getting in instead of Minson, believe it or not. I was actually chopping and changing, and I thought, can't go past Minson, but Roughhead, he's good value. He's definitely one to look at.
And he kicks goals too.
Yeah, and he's got the DPP status as well, doesn't he?
Yes,
play forward and
ruck.
in the ruck.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And there's a few players coming back in the second half of the year as well.
There are some very good options, but I mean, as to how long you're willing to wait out for these guys to drop in price from their current price, I mean, Matthew Pavlich, also his teammate Aaron Sanderlands, and Kurt Tippett, and we have an article up on the SCP website. So if you haven't read the article on Kurt Tippett and the pros and cons about bringing him in and not bringing him in whilst his price is fluctuating, considering, you know, John Longmire has said that he's probably going to spend most time deep forward and possibly subs. So price will come down.
Well, a lot of people think, oh, it's Kurt Tippett. He's playing his first game against Port Adelaide. Let's trade him in already. Wait until he's on the bubble and then see what happens.
I think so. You have to. There's no point bringing him in this week. But another thing while we're here now, we're moving into now the rookies and where we place them in the run home. Now, particularly, we've had a lot of people ask us about Brett Goods and your man, Nick Floston.
My man.
Who is So, I mean, look, they're both scoring like premiums, let's face it. They're scoring very, very well. They're scoring consistently well. Both have got fantastic job security in their respective teams. I know you're down to, how many trades have you got left?
Surprisingly, this might shock some people, but I'm down to 5. Yes, but one of these guys, Brett Goods, I'm actually using as an all year round bench option because, you know, he's scoring consistently.
An all year round bench option?
Yep.
Some people just got a life, haven't they?
He's got the lowest number of losses, that's why.
So I've still got Josh Saunders on my bench.
End of the season, we'll come and see if it pays off. If it doesn't, then I'm going to change my strategy for next year, definitely. But yeah, I've actually kept him as... last week I didn't play him. I traded in Heppel and chose to keep Goods on the bench, and they scored exactly the same, so it didn't really pay off in the first week. But yeah, I think he's definitely, if you're not going to upgrade him, definitely keep him. Yeah. If not on the field, then on the bench.
I think he's worth it. I mean, even now, Goods is at about 3, he's just a touch under 400k. So in between upgrading, and there's no point to downgrade because let's face it, the run home now, we're not going to see too many rookies debut or even get consistent games, as most sides, majority of sides are now looking to shore up their squads ahead of finals. So there's really no point to start looking to downtrade. But I mean, let's just jump into a few now. I mean, me personally, I've still got Jackson Thurlow. He's been a very good servant of Rampage FC. Currently at 211,000, break even at 28, which is fantastic because he's going to get up this week by a projected $16,000, and that's a bare minimum.
If he plays, because they said Harry Taylor's coming back, so...
Oh, God.
Yes, but there is word as well. I mean, Jackson has been playing a bit on the wing at training this week, and has also been training with the forwards. So could be an interesting little... I guess piece of information, you call that.
And that jumper falling down was an ominous
sign.
I know.
Jesus, that was bad omen. Yeah. And for me, Brent Staker as well. Now he's a bit more expensive, 240k thereabouts. Average of 72, break even to 28, and he's also going to increase by a minimum of 13,000. So for me, I'm looking to use these two guys in tandem in the next coming weeks to trade one down to a rookie. I'm not going to have to rely on, and use the cash there to upgrade him to someone like a Heath Shaw or a Pierce Hanley.
You're not going to get Danaher?
Everton or...
He's on the bubble after his bye.
Yeah.
He's 150 though.
The problem is that I can't see him forking that out. And let's be honest, he did well against Gold Coast, and the week before against Kelton, he was, I would say... we can't put too much on him, but he was a bit average. I think.
He could be decent bench option, I guess, if he plays out the rest of the year. But I think with Gumbleton not getting a spot in the Essendon side, he could be there all year.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
It. And who have you got?
Floston, Gunn, keep him.
Floston, Gunn, keep him.
And McCaffer, someone that you should be trading out because Collingwood have their bye this week. Break even of 92. He only scored 39 on the weekend, I believe. So he's topped in price. He's not going to get any higher. So maybe down to Danaher, or maybe down to, you know, one of those rookies that just a complete bottom price. They're not going to play it, but you get the money from it.
Yep.
So.
And we spoke of breakevens before, but another one as well is Sam Dwyer. He's got a break even. The highest out of all that we've spoken of is 124. So you think that he could be decreasing in price quite dramatically over the next few weeks. He's got an expected decrease of 35,000 alone over the next week. So yeah, he could be one to look to.
And if you haven't got Mitchell yet, and you've still got Dwyer, speaks for itself, I think. But and next segment we've got is the key fixture dates. Now, coming up in the second half of the season, if you're a fan of the Dockers or you've got lots of Dockers in your side, this is definitely going to be of interest. Fremantle themselves have got North Melbourne, Geelong, St Kilda, West Coast, Richmond, Adelaide, Carlton, GWS, Melbourne, Port and St Kilda as their second half of the year.
Yep.
To put that into perspective, that is 10 teams who are currently, as we stand, are outside the top 8, and 6 of those games are at Patterson Stadium. So when I wrote that just before, and here I am talking about wanting to get in Brett Deledio, I'm now considering reversing that trade and getting in somebody like Mundy or Barlow based on that run home.
But Richmond's run home. They've got the Dogs, St Kilda, North Melbourne, Gold Coast up in Kazali Stadium.
Loss.
Fremantle, Sydney, Hawthorn, Brisbane, Carlton, GWS and Essendon. So that's 7 teams currently outside the top 8. They only travel twice in the second half of the year, and that's against Gold Coast up in Cairns. And GWS,
or is that going to?
they're going to win.
Sure?
And GWS over in Sydney, which I'm going to that game.
Oh, look at you! Just give us a wave and.
No worries.
Cool.
I'm only here for SuperCoach.
Far out.
And
yeah, it's good to get in Richmond players.
And another one is Geelong. If you've got the likes of Stevie J, Bartel, you're looking pretty sweet at the moment. They've got Brisbane, Fremantle, Hawthorn, Melbourne, Adelaide, Saints, North Melbourne, Port, West Coast, Sydney and Brisbane. So that's 8 teams outside the top 8 and 6 games at Continua Park as well. So
it's ridiculously good.
I think they'll probably finish top.
Especially for Stevie. Stevie loves Continua Park.
Oh yeah, well I think in saying that Geelong and I would say Geelong and Fremantle
well placed
will be top 2, and I know that's pretty stiff considering how good Hawthorn have been. But with those run home, it's pretty hard to look past. But we're going to move now into our tweet of the week. Jeez, it feels like it's been forever. Yep. Now I'm just going to go straight off the bat here with our friend Luke Ferguson. Hey Luke, a trade idea. O'Meara and Laird out for Joel Selwood and Martin, and next week get Stevie J when his price drops. Well, you've just answered your own question. That is fantastic. O'Meara, you don't need him at all. Laird, well, I just think that he was going to be a flash in the pan type. He's done you the service of building you some cash, offload him. And if you can get Stevie J, maybe you can wait not only just next week, but the week after, because of his massive break even. So I'd probably say pull the trigger on those 2, get Selwood and Martin in, but hold off on Stevie J.
Yeah. Mine's from Crisis. He's asking for the defense, Ibbotson, Ellis or Birchall. All of them.
flip a 3-sided coin, as I would say.
Have you got 3 trades and the amount of money to get all 3?
Yeah. I mean, Birchall, he's had a down patch, but that just means he's so cheap right now. We just went over how good Fremantle and Richmond's run
over
homes
100
are.
last week.
He did 122, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he's just signed up. Gone on you, Ellis. Yeah, I mean, any of them really. I would say, personally, I got an Ibbotson in last week, so he gave me a 132 score or something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, go with Ibbotson, in my opinion.
Yep.
And I've got a tweet from TDAR12, Alex. He asks, who is a cheap forward to bring in for Sam Kerridge? And he already has Joe Danaher. Now, I assume that he's talking about downgrading to someone who will be a bench option. And the only option is Jake Stringer. He's priced at 209, but he's not all that consistent with an average of 45. So I wouldn't recommend downgrading Sam Kerridge to any rookie forwards because apart from Danaher, there's no one. So you'd probably look to downgrade him because I think he is a mid and a forward. So downgrade him to someone like Mitchell or someone like that.
And if you were saying...
Or even a Rovat if his name this week.
Even a Rovat,
If the question was to bring in someone like a cheap forward, like a mid-price, like low 400s forward, then maybe you'd want.
I'm going to throw one
nobody.
out. Jude Bolton at like 380k.
Yeah.
Well, look, his scoring this year hasn't been great, but if you're looking for cheap.
Yeah. Speaking of Sydney, captain choice for this week, JPK does quite well.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
113 and 140 against Port in his last 2 games, and recently players like Ryan Griffin 176, Stevie J 151, Bartel 131 against them. Very good option.
Look, I'm thinking using the captain loophole on him this week. You'd be a bit immature not to do that, I think. But I don't know. There's not really much. Getting captain choice this week will be probably the hardest task next to fielding 18
For those
players.
lazy players that have Ablett and they can just put Ablett everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Let's just lock him in.
I have Ablett and Swan, and I'm spewing there. Both have the bye, but I've also got Sammy Mitchell, and he plays West Coast on Friday night, I think it is, and he's passed 6 against him. He scored 134, 121, 122, 127, 160, and 147. So he is one that I'm putting the big C on.
So I'm tossing up between Deledio, Barlow, and now Mitchell.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And JPK.
And I've got LASTUIN trade in, but JPK's already in my team.
I see.
I'm all over that.
Or Minson, high faith in Minson.
But I mean, if all that goes to dust, I'm all over the Richmond boys this week. Now, when do they play?
Saturday night.
Saturday night. So try this for size. They love playing the doggies, the Richmond boys. If you've loaded up with them, you'll be happy because the last time the Tigers played the Dogs it was round 3 this year, was it? Yep. So early on in the year. So that was when Richmond were on a roll too. You've got Trent COTCHIN actually had 139 points in round 3 and copped the Nick Lower tag.
And that was when Lower had completely shut out players.
Yeah, exactly. So he'd had some big scalps the 2 weeks previous. So COTCHIN for me is someone I'm going to look into. But in that same game, Dustin Martin scored 150, Brett Deledio had 140, Ivan Maric had 120, and Basher Hooley had 110. So they went absolutely apeshit, to be quite honest. And your boy Brandon Ellis had 6 points.
He was the side. He was the side.
I just had to throw that in. Yeah. But hey, Floston wasn't playing, and we're going to back him to have at least 80 this week, and he's got a high break even. So someone like him, I think they're going to have a big game this week. But look, while we're here, we do have to announce that we have a new sponsor on board, Uncle Rico. They are now, I'm wearing an Uncle Rico shirt. They are absolutely awesome. So we're going to be giving away a $50 voucher. And we'll release details on that. But Uncle Rico are wicked. They are an awesome Melbourne brand, t-shirts, wicked designs. I definitely encourage jumping over to their website, unclerico.com. It is an awesome online shop, really user-friendly and just fantastic prints of shirts. So they're awesome. We're going to give away some of those. We'll also advertise some of those shirts as well on the Facebook, Twitter, and on the website too. So get yourself some Uncle Rico gear because they rock.
Yep.
And to finish up, we're just going to fly off some quick tips for the weekend.
Hawthorn West Coast, going Hawthorn.
Hawthorn for me.
Port Sydney.
Sydney, yeah.
Yep, Sydney. I've actually written down Port. That's a bit of a gaff.
Wow, okay.
Sydney.
Game of the round, St Kilda, Melbourne. St Kilda?
Can Melbourne win their first game? Their second game? No, I'm still going to go St Kilda.
Yeah, Dogs, Tigers by 100.
Tigers will probably absolutely annihilate them. Yep.
Fremantle North, Freo. It's in Perth.
Fremantle by daylight.
And the Lions, Geelong.
Yep, Geelong.
So get your Whopper this week as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at 3 Whoppers in a row this week for the SCP team. So make sure you put your footy tips in this week and win yourself a Whopper.
Yeah, and make sure to stay involved as well. SCP Show # on Twitter. Ask us questions on Facebook, whatever.
Just come and annoy us.
Yeah, that's right.
We love a bit of annoyance.
We're happy.
Yeah, we are.
So it's been another very good show.
It is, and we'll be back next week, so you won't have to deal with us having a bye and flying to, America, going to the snow, or getting some sun. So.
And Paige will have lost next week.
No, order will be restored, and I'll be the best coach. All right, we're out of here. Go Pies.
Go Tigers.
Go Blues. Go Socceroos.
Go Socceroos. Woo!